So I just watched Comic Book Girl 19 have a little bit of a breakdown. She was reviewing Suicide Squad, and at first I felt bad for her. Then I got to one line, and you know what? I felt I had to say something about it. So this is my response to Comic Book Girl 19. And welcome back to the heart of the stories we tell, a series where I spend way too much time thinking about what makes a story. And today's episode is why it is we shouldn't explain why stories are bad. Now, let me start off with the fact that I did my own review of Suicide Squad. I will link it in here. I gave it a silver, which in my rating system is a good movie but not a great movie, worth seeing but not necessarily anything that's going to blow you away. I also want to cover the fact that Comic Book Girl has a much bigger YouTube channel than me, is much more popular than me, and many more people listen to her. In fact, she has more likes, not more watches, just more likes on this one video that I'm responding to than I have views of every video I have ever put out put together. So, if we go just by popularity, she's right, I'm wrong. And since later on I'm going to talk about popularity, I figure it's only important to not be a hypocrite and start with that. Let's talk about what she said. She talked about the fact that she herself does not like Suicide Squad, which, hey, you know, what critics do, they say whether they like something or not. She went on and on about the fact that Suicide Squad and the DC Extended Universe is just falling on its face. And I don't believe it. I just don't. Movies that make almost $1 billion aren't flops. They're not falling on their face. Movies that people like to see are movies people like to see. She brought up the Rotten Tomatoes score of 26% and said, oh, they totally earned it. But even on her screen that I'm going to show you, it shows 72% of the audience liked it. And I don't understand these Rotten Tomatoes scores. When you add the critic and the audience together, it's 100%, which I guess would make sense if it was like 60-40 or 50-50 or anything like that. But 72-26, that's an insane difference. Are these critics watching the same movie the audience is? Is the audience just too dumb to not understand the movie? Or are the critics just looking for something that isn't there? I don't know. I, again, didn't think it was a great movie. I thought it was a solid C. That 72% is about where I think it should be. That 26% I don't understand at all. She then goes on to explain that it's like coming out of the running blocks and that she used to be a runner. Never been a runner myself. In fact, if you ever see me running, I promise you, something is chasing me. Probably a scary dog. I don't know what it's like coming out of those blocks. But I know this. When you launch a movie thing with such a sharp divide as Man of Steel had, and then come back and have Batman v Superman that's much better publicly accepted, but still a critical flop, and then you do Suicide Squad that, again, is much better publicly received than Man of Steel, but a critical flop. All I'm looking at is these critics keep flopping it, but people are watching it. People like these characters. People like these movies. And yeah, I would change a bunch of things. I really would. In fact, I'm going to talk about in a few weeks an entire pitch I have for an alternate DC Comics entirely. And I'm going to talk about these movies in it. But right now, as I'm looking at this, she calls it a sinking ship. And I'm looking at this sinking ship and going, man, I bet there's a bunch of filmmakers that wish their movies would sink as low as Suicide Squad and Batman v Superman did. Now again, maybe you're not a fan, maybe you think these things are horrible, but she said she was sick and tired of having to explain why these movies are bad. And that one really stuck in my craw, and that's what this is all about. Why would you ever have to explain why something's bad? Two people sitting in a room. One of them says, man, I really like this. The other one says, man, I really don't. The one who likes it goes, well, let me tell you why I like it. And the one who doesn't says, hey, well, let me tell you why I don't like it. Okay, fine. That's an exchange of ideas, and that makes sense. But when you get to the point where you say, I keep trying to show you why this sucks, but you like it anyway. If you keep trying to show someone why something sucks and they like it anyway, maybe they like it because it's good, or at least good enough for them. Maybe we shouldn't be telling people, you shouldn't like this. It's bad for you to like this. Maybe we should be telling them, alright, well, it's not my cup of tea. And maybe the critics in general need to start rating movies based on, well, it's not my cup of tea, but I bet the general audience are going to like it. Makes me think about those Transformer movies. I personally think the best Transformer movie that ever came out is the one from the 80s. The one where Megatron must be stopped, no matter the cost. But, as I sit here and look, I understand that Michael Bay's movies make a ton of money and people enjoy them. I would definitely rate them at least a silver. Most of them, maybe one of them would hit copper. They're not gold standard movies. They're not platinum, oh my god, everyone must see these movies. They're not the mythical movie that's perfect, but they're good. And I wonder, like Comic Book Girl asks in her video, should she stop? Should she find a new job? No, absolutely not. But maybe, and this is just my suggestion to her, maybe she should take a look at these movies again, all three of them, Man of Steel, Batman v Superman, and Suicide Squad, and say, there's a whole bunch of people that love parts of this movie. So even if I don't like it, what nuggets can I pull out that I do like? That's what I try to do here in the heart of the stories we tell. Every story has value. Every story tells us something. Every story pushes the idea of stories a little bit farther. And maybe if she took a look at that, it would renew her faith as a comic book fan. Now, as I stretch out here, I do realize that, again, my opinion is just one voice on the internet. But Comic Book Girl, if you're listening, I hope that you do start to enjoy these movies, and I hope that you enjoy every movie you go to. But even when you don't, if you really look hard enough, somewhere deep down in the heart of the stories we tell, you will find something worth paying attention to. And to everyone listening, I hope that you subscribe for more of my insane ramblings as I try to find those hearts of the stories we tell. Thanks for watching.